The stone in his hand is trembling, dripping with a colour that he has barely seen as he stands freshly, the youngest man in the world. He walks away unproud, and he hides and he lies, but the dead blood cries, scar him, with a brand that today we can only name, the mark of Cain. And he ran far and started new, lived old, died quiet, fathered a nation. But he was the worst of us. For he was the first. Disobedience may have begun in the garden, but he was the first to think of death as a solution. All hail the prime innovator, the great disruptor, our Father. See what we do in your name, all those centuries dehumanized. From the opponents in war to my neighbours next door, and we know no soul is a problem to solve or simply ignore, yet we have made ignorance an art form. How many long-rooted wounds have we even really tried to heal? Like, we are only a few generations down from those entrepreneurs who took even the question, what was Cain's mark, and made it a weapon, called it skin tone, called them slaves, called it justified. Don't just take a life, take a life. And they were the worst, but they weren't the first or the last. And there will come a day when them becomes me, when the great narrator tells my backstory and I start to sweat. Because there may be many miles from their crimes to my misdemeanors. But they and I share what we forget. When we even try to ask the question, how do we tell the okay ones from the less than? Nowadays, I think we look for names or maybe try to describe them with clever rhymes. It's deplorable. Snowflakes, letterboxes, gammons. Say, maybe it's that failure of empathy, that lack of compassion that places a dogma or passion above a life, believes its greed or need or righteous creed is any more than a knife. But I'll wield even that when I use it not to challenge but call out, shut down, yes, correctly correct their words, but neglect their worth. Father, I do it in your name, all while Cain cowers in the corner, wishing to forget what he did, that we weren't the first. Well, let's do this literally. We were hunter-gatherers, we were warring tribes, so death was always in our toolkit. But I swear it seems both evolutionary biology and Christian theology lead me to an idea of original sin. That we all share an ancestor. That the world we now see is marked with their legacy. That any of us carries the seed of the worst of us. But the worst of us and the best of us may coexist in the same skull. That we may be more than our own darkest moment or our most guttural forebear, but we are born with a struggle and a kind of choice. Yeah, I know I haven't done the worst things on earth, but I am certain that the world would not be what it is if people like me weren't so quick to forget. Well, the just sentence for death is death. But who even has the right to pass it? And anyway, blood only cries for more blood. Then the last man said, when they sue you for your coat, give them the rest of your clothes too. When they slap you, offer the other side of your face. Do not return evil, but reveal it. and let love be its own condemnation of hate. But they killed him too. Still, when the hand of Cain struck the last man dead, his blood cried something better. Make this one be the last. Let no more be demanded. Make even Cain be clean. Let the last man's death be death's own condemnation, the bleakest satire in history. But I think he may have been the best of us, because he was the first to think of death as a solution. What changed? The stone in his hand is trembling as he stands, the oldest man in the square. He walks away unproud, neither hiding nor lying. And the still dry stone hits the sand. In the last man's words, let the faultless throw it